Hello and welcome to the final Red and White show of the season. Joining me for this one, Club Doncaster media manager Liam Hoden. Liam, a season that promised so much is coming to an end very shortly. Rovers' final home game of the season this weekend. How do you look back on it? There has been ups and downs as the last few weeks have shown, but it's been a season that's had its fair share of that rollercoaster ride.
It's been a difficult season. That's all you can say. You know, we've had a managerial change in the middle of it, which brings its own kind of instability. You know, although the club acted very quickly to bring in Danny Schofield within a matter of days of Gary McSheffrey leaving, but it's been and then it's probably just not really ignited in the way that it might have. I think it's easy to forget in the position that we're in now that it wasn't that long ago where the playoffs remained a realistic ambition. But since I think that Salford game felt like a turning point, you know, the defeat there, but also injuries to the likes of Iverson Biggins and George Miller, the result kind of put the playoffs probably just out of reach, but then set forth a kind of chain of events where so many players picked up injuries that it's made the back end of the season really, really difficult. And obviously, you know, we're heading into the summer, but desperate to kind of pick up a bit of positivity, a bit of momentum going into the off season. Yeah,
there's a bit of both in that, isn't there? That, you know, everybody really can't wait for the season to end to be able to focus on next season. Danny Schofield's already spoken about recruitment. The wheels are in motion for that. But you've got to get through these two games with, I suppose, as little damage now as possible. We've seen in the last couple of weeks just how frail confidence is. I think 3 of the last 4 Rovers have been ahead at half-time. They've not been able to turn any of them into wins, which shows it is that tipping point, isn't it, for the players. If they'd have got through that Newport game and got a win, you'd have backed them to go and beat Colchester on Saturday. Right now, you're just not quite sure what you're going to get.
No, you're really not. I think it's probably indicative of where the squad is at the minute. You know, really, really down to the bare bones. A lot's been asked of players that have not got many minutes previously. They've not got bags of experience at senior level. And, you know, they're kind of, you get into the late stages of games and awful lot's being asked of them based on what they've done before. So, yeah, I think having a week between the last couple of games will help. You know, certainly bodies can rest, and we've seen a few more players come back into the fold over these last couple of weeks. So it is important, I think, to pick up a bit of, you know, a victory in this last 2, hopefully 2 victories, but that'd do an awful lot going into the summer.
And Danny's spoken about, and we've spoken about on the show as well, that when Terry's statement came out saying that there were going to be significant funds added to the playing budget, you know, there's been a lot of talk on social media of listen, we'll believe it when we see it, which is quite right, you know, from what we've heard and seen in years gone by. But I think the evidence is there that Rovers will have a much more competitive budget for next season.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think the club, people at the club, particularly over the last few months, over the last year in particular, have been quite honest about the level of investment that's gone into the playing squad from the ownership. It's run on a self-sustainable model. This is significant because it's an outward declaration that we are going to put extra funds in, which is something that's not happened other than keeping the business ticking over. So yeah, rest assured that investment is coming, and hopefully it will make a significant difference heading into next season.
Time for the latest quick fire round, the last one of the campaign, with James Brown in the hot seat.
James Brown, 24. Dublin, Ireland. Shelbourne, team in Dublin. Manchester United. Ronaldo. Kieran Trippier, because he hasn't got really anything to stand out from the rest, but obviously his technical ability is really good, and that's got him to where he is, really. Scored in last game of the season to get us promoted in Ireland in like the championship as such, so that was the winning goal to get us up. Lads back home, there's a lad who plays for Hamilton, Daniel O'Reilly. He's a good friend of mine. Wagmamas. Dominoes. Let me think about this one. Probably spoilers. Darts. Darts. Outer Banks. Irish music. It's near the summer, isn't it? What did I watch? Oh, Austin Powers. Who would play me? I don't know. That's actually a tough question. Let me think about this. I don't know. That's actually so tough. I'm trying to think why. I have names, but I'm trying to think why. Leonardo DiCaprio. Dublin doesn't count, does it? Where did I go last summer? Marbella. I actually worked in loads of jobs, to be honest with you, so I'd probably go into gym side, like personal training or something like that. Probably read minds. I liked wrestling. I was big into that. Probably Rowe's experience, because he's that old and I haven't got that much experience yet.
Liam, that quick fire round, it's been a feature of the show all season, hasn't it? We've had, I think, virtually now every single player on it, and hopefully from the inside looking out, it's given the fans a bit of an insight really as to who the lads are away from football. Yeah,
we tried to come up with some questions that show a bit of the personality, a bit about what makes them tick. I think back to the last show, and you're learning that Lewis Jones is a big gamer, a big fan of games, made a lot of friends who were gamers as well, professional gamers. Stuff like that you don't necessarily find out, certainly the supporters. So yeah, it's been good, it's a bit of an insight.
James Brown's had an interesting journey, hasn't he, since coming in January. Got himself in the team, a few straight starts, and Charlie Seaman's worked his way back in. I know Brownie had that little injury, didn't he, a couple of weeks back as well. How do you feel he's done on the whole? It's been difficult for him, I think, hasn't it, as with the other lone players as well. When the season's petering out as it is, you've got to just keep your own standards as high as you can.
Yeah, and I think he made a good impact when he first came in, and we've seen in periods what he can contribute, certainly going forward. Really good attacking play. If he can find space on that right hand side high up the pitch, that he's going to deliver some decent balls into the box. I think he had a great run last weekend, and unfortunate that didn't really turn into a greater chance. But yeah, as you say, it has been difficult, particularly picking up that little niggle that he did in that period. But Charlie Seaman's put good pressure on him. Charlie obviously battling to earn an extended stay here, and if players like that perform, they're going to get the opportunity for a closer look.
I think what he has done, James Brown, he's still really trying to forge a career for himself in England, isn't he? He's made the move and come across from Ireland, got a club in Blackburn, a couple of loan spells this season that can only stand him in good stead. He's probably got 40 odd games under his belt. When he goes back to Blackburn and wherever he may play football next season, he'll certainly be better for it. Yeah,
I think he'll be largely pleased. I think probably hoping to be pushing at the top end of the table for right to the end of the season, as he was early on with Stockport. But as you said, the amount of games that he has managed to get under his belt this season, he'll be pleased with that.
Now, Tommy Rowe is one of several Rovers players to have had his injury problems this season. He, along with others, is hoping the worst is behind him.
Tommy, you missed a couple of games through injury, but you're back now. How pleasing is it to get a couple of games in before the end of the season?
Yeah, delighted that I'm back in action. It's always where I wanted to be, particularly after a real difficult season in terms of my injuries. So, and obviously having to wait in between the games now and just build up my fitness. And so I look forward to being around there on Saturday.
Important to come out just to make sure that nothing were exacerbated during this busy period?
Yeah, I was obviously struggling for quite a bit in terms of pain and power output, so it's kind of like trying to put your finger on what it is and get the right people around you to help me first and foremost. And once it was sort of corrected, then I've always got to pick up my fitness. And it took me about 2 weeks to get that up to speed, and now I'm feeling stronger again.
You'll be no doubt itching to try and create a bit of positivity before the end of the season, pick up a much needed win.
Yeah, I think it's always important. It's always the outlook, for every game, especially when you're going through a bad run of form. You sort of got to see out the storm really, and always remember that we have a job to do first and foremost is go out there and work hard. That comes before anything, tactically and technically, and that should be the easiest thing as a footballer. It's something you can do in a training session, and if you apply the right mindset, you can do it in every game, and we've got to get back to that.
You're obviously an experienced head and a player who is always quick to offer advice and put your arm around players that when they need it. A lot's been asked of the younger members of the squad in these last few couple of months, really, with all the injury situation. How important have you seen your role in sort of helping them along in what's been a lot of them first real sort of stint of regular minutes?
Yeah, and when young players go for adversity, like all players, not just young players, it's testing times, and you really get to see your true self in that fact, really, because it's easy when things are going well in a team, and right now it's clearly not. So the things that get asked of you in them sessions are a bit more to do with the physical side, the mental side as well. You've got to sort of roll your sleeves up and and give a little bit more in terms of your overall performance. You probably wouldn't have to, but yeah, it's been interesting. We obviously know that it's going to take more than just two teams going at it on Saturday. We have to be aggressive. We need to bring a level performance that we've not had in the previous games, because it's not resulted in a win for us. So yeah, we're all focused and determined to put that right, but I think now the young players are definitely drilled at that, and they know now standards have to go up.
As you mentioned, results have not been as we'd like, but it's in certain points of games it's felt like it's not been far away from picking up that win. What do you think's not quite happened to ensure that we've held on to leads and gone on to pick up the 3 points?
Well, we analyse every performance, so it's hard to analyse in the moment. It's impossible nearly in a game. You're so fixed on the now. But looking back at games we've seen where we could have won games where individual mistakes, collective mistakes, and sort of sometimes even lack of communication, things like that. And the idea is to address that Monday to Friday in the training ground. It's been a very good week of training. I've really enjoyed it. Enjoyed being back with the lads full on, and I think it's been productive. There's been things ironed out, and I should hope that first and foremost we bring that sort of aggression and the sort of mindset that it takes to win a game. And yeah, we obviously get a little bit of luck on the way, and it turns out to be a good day for us.
You've spent an awful lot of time while you've been at this club in both spells speaking with fans in person. You made no secret about the fact that you're not on social media. You prefer to have your conversations with supporters face to face. Obviously there's a lot of frustration at the moment, but what message would you send out to them to share a bit of optimism for what's to come?
It's the same message that I speak to the players day in day out. It's stick together. It's easy as a player just to go against your mate. If he didn't run a certain distance, you can call him out. That's fine. That's what the game's about in a training ground. But the same day you brush that aside, you go on. You know that you've got to get that same demand out of him the next day. So yeah, it's all well and good to have disputes in football, and like we have done as teammates, we constantly go back and forth in terms of getting that best practice out. But at the same time, we know that we're a team, and like anything in life, you fall out of people, but you know that you're going in the right run. And the message quite simple is, stick with us. We've gone through a very, very difficult patch. I've been here for a while, and I'm not seeing too many like this. But there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So we've just got to make sure we're doing the right things, and it comes down to not just the right things, it comes down to wanting to win. And fans will always see that if you are absolutely giving your all, it's clear as day, and that's what we're focusing as a team. And trying to get that rebuild there will be case by case, and starts on Saturday for us.
Liam, we've mentioned, I think, in meetings and everywhere really, haven't we, the injuries that Rovers have had this season. And it can seem like an excuse at times, but the facts are there. Only last weekend against Newport, you're in double figures still for the players out, even with the returning Tommy Rowe and Harrison Biggins on the bench. Just how much of an impact has it had, both on Danny as head coach, but also on other players having to step up as well and really churn out performances when they're not used to playing regularly?
I think it is, and I think it can be underestimated just how much it does impact on everybody else. as we kind of mentioned earlier about players that have not really got those minutes over the career in the legs. They're being asked to produce sort of 90-minute performances week in, week out, because there's really not much depth there. Players are pushing through, and we've spoken about it. Tommy Rowe himself spoken about it, playing through injuries, and that's kind of what has been needed. If you could get through a game, even if you were carrying a bit of a niggle, then it's been important to do so for the sort of collective cause. And I think even if you look back to the start of the season, no Tom Anderson, Joseph Holloway with his issues, and then followed by more issues that Joseph's had. There's been key players missing throughout, but the way this season has ended in terms of key injuries, and particularly when you're looking attacking areas, it's been massive for Rovers.
It almost seems like every player has had their few weeks on the sidelines, doesn't it? You're looking at the teams at the top end of the table, and you would probably guarantee that they'll have 6 or 7 players who've played 40 plus games this season. With Rovers, you've not got that many really, especially established first teamers. Yeah, I think
when you looked at Leyton Orient in the first half of the season, they hardly used any players, at all. It was just a consistent side, and that, as you say, that can take you an awful long way. And it just, you're being thrown in at the deep end. Players have been required to just come and make an impact, and some of them have done that. It's fair to say. Adi Barlow, particularly these last few weeks, come in without many minutes under his belt, made a real impact in the side. But asking more and more players to do that, it's really difficult.
Now the Belles take on Northampton Town Women here at the Eco Power this weekend, and manager Nick Buxton says his players deserve the opportunity.
Nick, the Belles playing here at the Eco Power Stadium on Sunday. How much are you looking forward to the occasion?
Yeah, the girls are really looking forward to it. It's a first time we're going to be on this season. We'd like to have been on early in the season, but down to weather commitment, weather being as it was, it were cancelled. But it's great of the club to get this on, and it'll be a great occasion. Hopefully we can get a decent crowd down.
Extra buzz in the girls at the minute?
Yeah, I think once they know they're going to play here, because obviously we've got that game, then we've got the game on the Thursday night as well. So we've got 2 games in like 4 or 5 days to play on here, which is massive for the girls, and it's great to come in here. It's always somewhere they want to play on here, and they want to play on the pitch, and but it'd be great to get on here and hopefully get a decent couple of results.
Yeah, the league game against Northampton on Sunday, followed by the game against Huddersfield in the County FA Cup final on Thursday. Chance on Sunday for the girls to acclimatise themselves ahead of that big final.
Yeah, it's actually fell quite well actually, that they can come get used to the pitch, and it gives us a bit of a bonus to play on it, and then obviously get ready for Thursday, which is going to be a massive game again. Like I say, to be in a cup final for the first time in 13 years is brilliant for the girls. It's a great achievement to what they've got, and hopefully we might be able to put on a good performance and get a win.
How would you sum up the season as a whole?
On a whole, I would say it's been a good season. If you look at us compared to a lot of teams, we don't pay any money whatsoever. We don't pay expenses. Yet a lot of teams around us do, and they pay really, really good money. Like Stourbridge pay really good money, but we don't. So the girls are playing for free. And if you look at it that way, we've overachieved on what we've done this season. It's going to be disappointing again to finish second again and not go up, but I say it is what it is, and I like to say you can't be any more proud of the girls.
Always tough with just that one promotion space.
Yeah, I think Russ has put it forward to the FA before when he's had meetings with them, and I've actually was at a meeting early on in end of last season actually at Stockport, and I spoke to the Baroness, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but spoke to her and actually said, look, it demoralises people if you just have that one place going up, then it really is hard to get you motivated. But we want to finish second, and like I say, I think if we do that, then obviously it's been a sort of a successful season.
And obviously we mentioned it, but the chance to cap off the season with a bit of silverware.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a great occasion. We played Huddersfield early on this season and got beat 3-0, and they are a good team. There's no getting away from that. They are in a higher league than us, but look, we've got to come here and give it our best shot, and hopefully we can get a bit of silverware, and it'd be great to do it.
If people haven't seen the Belles this season, what could they expect if they came on Sunday or next Thursday?
We're a team that wants to play football, want to get on the front foot. We want to attack, want to get into good areas. And one thing about the girls, they'll actually work. They'll go out there, they'll give 100%, and they will run their backsides off to get there. And I think that's what you come as a fan when you go into any stadium. If you see a team or players running and giving 100% for that shirt, then that's all you can ask for. And like I say, that is one thing they will do.
So Liam, the Belles here twice in 5 days, aren't they? We've got the County Cup final next Thursday as well. A real showpiece occasion on 2 occasions for them to really show what they can do.
Yeah, I think it's fell quite well for them, as Nick said in that they can almost get acclimatised, on Sunday in that league game before the player in that cup final, their first final in 13 years, the Belles, which is incredible, really. And it'll be a big occasion on that night. But I know there'll be some frustration amongst them because they could have played here earlier in the season. It were called off due to the weather, but it is nice to get them in here, and get the opportunity to get a few more people down. It's difficult, we know, with them playing out in Thorn, but the opportunity for them to come back back to the middle of town and play in front of a few more fans will be a really good occasion for them.
Yeah, they've had a little bit of that exposure this season. They played at Sinsel Bank in a real thriller, didn't they, earlier on in the campaign? And for the girls themselves, that they're used to playing in front of the crowd up at Thorn. They get here and on a pitch like this, they can really show what they can do and show why they're second in the league and having a really good season. Yeah,
I think it's important for them if they get plenty in. The more occasions like these will open themselves up for them. And it's been a long, hard season for them. I think whenever you're chasing one promotion place from a division, you have that little bit of a falter as they did, and up against sides that, as Nick pointed out in the video, that are paying money as well, which the Belles don't at the minute. Always going to be difficult, but they've had a really good season. They're consistently finishing second. They just need to get over that line and get out of this division. But as we say, very, very difficult, given that there's only one place to fight for.
Easy to forget that they've gone through a similar sort of season to Rovers in terms of changing manager sort of early on, really. Andy Butler departed, Nick Buxton stepped up, and to be fair to him, he's kept it on a fairly level track, hasn't he? I think they went 8 games without conceding a goal at one stage, and as I said, he's done really well to keep the wheels moving, because it could have been easy, for all the good work that Andy Butler did, for it to sort of die off a little bit, but it didn't.
Yeah, they've never really looked back since Nick took over, which is, as you say, is a testament to them, a testament to the job that they've done. Obviously, Andy Butler, a big character, and you lose him, it was a blow to him. But they've done really well, and they'll be confident going into next season, as they always are at the start of each season, that they can go one better than what they have this year.
Rovers then starting the Club Doncaster doubleheader here this weekend. Colchester, a test that's very similar to what they faced against Newport last weekend. Just how many lessons will they have learned from that Newport game? Because on paper, you look at it, you go 1-0 up. You think it's a team who are done, really. They're staying up. They've got nothing to really fight for. But if anything, Newport showed that, as I think the case in point from Charlie Seaman last week, every player's fighting for something at this stage of the season. Yeah,
they're another team that are coming here having had a disappointing season. They've secured survival. And they've had a really good second half of the season after a bit of investment in January that's kind of took them over the line. They're coming here 8 unbeaten, which is a fantastic one. 3 wins out of the last 4, and I think that just shows, that tells you everything that you need. They're a club that are looking upwards after that additional investment. So as you say, everybody in there will be fighting. Like, we want to be part of this. We want to be kept on. And I think what happened last week against Newport is Rovers comfortable in the first half, went into half time, just that giving them that little bit of a sniff early on in the second half, really encouraging Newport on. You get 1 goal, that's when it's hard to shift that momentum, and I think that just shows that regardless of what you're doing, the opposition are going to be well up for it, and they're going to have a good go.
Colchester gone through it a little bit tough this season, just looked like they were getting it right, and then Wickham lose their manager in Gareth Ainsworth. They come and pluck another club legend in Matt Bloomfield. So you're sort of back to square one, aren't you, from their perspective? But they've done well to recover from that.
Yeah, it took an initial wobble, I think, when Ben Garner came in. But as we say, 8 unbeaten, and 3 wins in the last 4. Fantastic run. They'll be marking themselves out. We fancy getting out of this division next season the right way. So things are looking up for them.
Because when you look at their squad as well, they have got a lot of young players, but they've also got players who've been there, seen it, and done it at levels above, haven't they? I think Luke Chambers at the back, Freddie Sears still in there. There's plenty of quality in there, and if they can get it right in the summer, they will be a threat at the top end of the division.
Absolutely. We saw down at their place just how quickly that they can hurt you, as they did on that occasion. Some 3 spectacular goals on that occasion. They have got a lot of quality within their ranks, and they'll be well up for it next year.
How do you see this one going then at the weekend, the final home game of the campaign?
I'd love to see Rovers to sign off here with a win and a note of positivity. I think everybody needs it, from the players, staff, but supporters as well, especially. You know, it's been a tough end to this campaign, and I'm confident that they do it. You know, lads making all the right noises, as I know they do on each occasion. But yeah, fancying Rovers for the win this weekend. I'll say 2-1.
Thanks.
Yeah, and just before we light the thing, I can't sort of let it pass without saying thank you very much to you. You know, this, as people may well know, this is, you know, you leaving Doncaster Rovers and Club Doncaster for pastures new. You've sort of anchored this programme as well as you have the iFollow coverage for so long, but this programme in particular has been your baby, and it's been fantastic having you, and we wish you all the very best for the future.
Much appreciated. Been a pleasure for you and Daz, who always behind the camera as well. Never makes it in front of it. Maybe next season might be his time to shine. But as well for all the listeners, it's genuinely been a pleasure to represent you. So we'll see you down here on Saturday as Rovers take on Colchester.